but it's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
Seen it once, don't remember when. Think it's time to watch it again. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date. Episodes drop the last Friday. It's a Matt, forgot that. It's a Matt, forgot that. It's a Matt, forgot that podcast.
And welcome to the Matt Forgot That podcast, the place to recollect and reminisce. I'm your host, Matt Seroski, filmmaker, film fan. Each episode, I'm going to rewatch and review a movie or TV pilot that I've seen before but don't quite remember. It could be a blockbuster, critic's choice, or cult classic. To join in on the conversation, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or want to share your own trip down memory lane, use the hashtag MattForgotThat on social. Before we start, a couple of weeks ago, Disney, Fox, and Warner Bros. Discovery announced the name and price point for their joint venture, Venue Sports, which was targeted to launch in the fall at $42.99 per month. Now, I hate to say I told you so, but it wasn't too long ago that I predicted these streaming services would continue to raise prices to be the equivalent or more to cable. Starting in October, Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN will be raising their prices from $1 to $3 per month. As of August 20th, Paramount Plus raised their prices for their service, as well as the Showtime add-on. In July, Peacock increased its monthly and yearly prices, not coincidentally around the Olympics. And Max didn't even warn subscribers that prices were increasing, which occurred just before the Season 2 debut of House of the Dragon, at least to my knowledge, because I have their service. Now, this is all a way to make up for lost revenue. The entertainment companies are also reducing their staff. Paramount just laid off 15% of their workforce, which is the equivalent of 2,000 employees. Warner Bros. Discovery has let go people from their production, business affairs, and finance offices. They also took a $9 billion write-down from their TV networks. And yet, in some inevitable way, David Zaslav will earn an 8-figure salary that could fund a third-world country. But in a bit of good news for consumers, a federal judge in New York blocked the Venue Sports joint venture, citing antitrust laws. The suit was brought on by Fubo, who would see their sports content decrease, but also argued that it was unfair to the customer that sports are being gatekept behind pricey subscriptions. So if you are a fan of sports, this is something you should be keeping your eye on. We've already seen how our MLB games are being partitioned off between local networks like SNY, cable networks like ESPN, and streaming services like Roku, Apple TV, and MLB TV. So if you want to see every game from your favorite baseball team, you need a cable package and at least 3 streaming services. It's going to be interesting to see where this case ends up. On to the main attraction. Each review will end with a ranking out of 5 stars. 1 star is skip it, 2 stars watch at your own risk, 3 stars standard fare, 4 stars worth checking out, and 5 stars must see. Now if I give a title 5 stars, it doesn't mean I'm comparing it to Casablanca, Jaws, or Seinfeld. I rank titles based on other movies or TV series in that genre and at that time period. So let's jump into it. In this episode of the podcast, I'm rewatching and reviewing Knight Rider from 1982. It was created by Glenn A. Larson, who is also responsible for cult science fiction series Battlestar Galactica, sci-fi adventure Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, based on the comic strip, action comedy BJ and the Bear, action adventure The Fall Guy, yes, it was a series first, and crime drama Magnum P.I. He was nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Drama Series for Quincy M.E. He shared a Grammy Award nomination for Best Album of Original Score, written for a motion picture or television special for Battlestar Galactica. The 2-part pilot episode was directed by Daniel Haller. who helmed science fiction horror Die Monster Die, biker films The Devil's Angels and The Wild Racers, and the H.P. Lovecraft adaptation The Dunwich Horror. He would go on to direct episodes of The Night Gallery, Mod Squad, Kojak, Charlie's Angels, and Matlock. The screenplay was written by Glenn A. Larson. It stars David Hasselhoff as Michael Knight. He was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. He appeared in the play Peter Pan when he was a child, and dreamed of being on Broadway. He graduated from the California Institute of the Arts with a degree in theater. He made his feature film debut in the erotic comedy Revenge of the Cheerleaders. Despite this, he was cast in the soap opera The Young and the Restless as Dr. Snapper Foster from 1975 to 1982. He performed Nadia's theme on The Merv Griffith Show, which was featured prominently in the soap opera and helped launch Hasselhoff's music career. He would leave The Young and the Restless for a leading role in crime drama Knight Rider. Due to high production costs, the series was canceled in 1986 after 4 seasons. Hasselhoff would focus on his music career before being cast in action drama Baywatch as lifeguard Mitch Buchanan. It was initially canceled by NBC after 1 season, then revived in first-run syndication where it became a huge success both in the United States and internationally. He appeared in 219 episodes from 1989 to 2000. He also starred in the spin-off Baywatch Nights from 1995 to 1997. He made his Broadway debut in 2000 in the musical Jekyll and Hyde. He continues to work bouncing between movies, music, and the theater. He's listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most watched TV star in the world. Knight Rider also features Edward Mulhare, Phyllis Davis, Pamela Susan Shoop, and Lance Legault. So let's jump into it. This is what I remember. David Hasselhoff, the Hoff, of course, all in black leather. Never a good look, but it was the 80s. KITT, the indestructible car that talks with a Pong-inspired red headlight. And the theme song, quintessential 80s track, synth-heavy and gets stuck in your head. Now I'm heading off to watch the episode. This is what I forgot. Detective Michael Long and his partner Muncie are on a special assignment to protect technology executives Charles Acton and Tanya Walker, who are playing craps at the Circus Circus Casino on the Las Vegas Strip. Industrial spies break into Acton's hotel suite to take pictures of highly classified documents of an advanced computer microchip. While Charles cashes in his winnings, Tanya follows Michael, who checks in on his partner, only to find him dead. They tail the industrial spies and arrive just as the classified information is about to exchange hands. As Michael attempts to arrest them, he's double-crossed and shot in the face. While clinging to life, Long is taken in by billionaire Wilton Knight, who provides him with the best medical care. He only survived the incident because there was a metal plate in his head which deflected the bullet from reaching his brain. The detective is given a facelift and a new identity to protect him from the people who tried to kill him. Wilton wants to leave a legacy behind, outside of his billions of dollars, and convinces Michael to carry on the Knight name by bringing law and order to the criminal underworld, with the assistance of the most advanced Trans Am vehicle named KITT. Here's a quote without context. "I don't believe this. I'm playing chicken with a 10-ton semi." Knight Rider was an action-filled pilot. In the opening stakeout scene, I wasn't sure who was on each other's side, which made for an interesting reveal, and made you want to continue watching the episode. Now, the premise is a bit far-fetched, to be polite. I didn't realize that if a police officer is injured on the job and near death, that the union was totally cool with a billionaire taking the man in and giving him medical treatment. And the explanation as to how he wasn't killed due to the metal plate in his head reminded me of the scene in Seinfeld from the Junior Mint episode, where the doctor talks about how Roy survived the operation because something staved off the infection, something from above. Both doctors say the lines so seriously, but it's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Other than that, the introduction of KITT was a lot of fun. If you've never seen the series before, it kinda gets spoiled in the opening title sequence, but it's still a great way to present the vehicle. The subsequent scene reminds me of every Bond film where Q is showing James all the gadgetry of the car. There were a couple of surprisingly funny moments in the interactions between Michael and Kit, including when Michael falls asleep behind the wheel and is being coaxed awake by the car. And there was an ongoing gag with these two criminals who try to break into the vehicle. It walks right up to the line of slapstick. I think the pilot could have been streamlined to be one episode instead of two. There was an unnecessary scene where Michael enters a demolition derby, and while it was fun to watch, it didn't serve much of a purpose to the overall story. Now for a little trivial trivia. Actor Richard Basehart makes a cameo appearance as the creator of Kit, and provides the voiceover narration during the opening title sequence. He's best known as Ishmael in Moby Dick, Nibwell in Shadow's Land, and Admiral Harryman Nelson in the television series Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Knight Rider was produced by Universal Television and aired on NBC. The pilot was filmed at Hollywood Burbank Airport, Greystone Park and Mansion in Beverly Hills, Sawgrass Speedway, CSU Northridge, and at Universal Studios, all in California. The cinematography was captured by Frank Baescoechea, whose filmography includes episodes of detective dramas, Beretta and Switch, adventure, Sword of Justice, horror anthology, The Twilight Zone, and drama romance, Beauty and the Beast. We also have to give kudos for the cinematic masterpiece, No Holds Barred. It was edited by David Howe, who worked on episodes of crime drama Griff, superhero drama The Bionic Woman, and space adventure Battlestar Galactica, and William Martin, who's known for episodes of comedy The Jim Backus Show, sitcom The Joey Bishop Show, and fantasy comedy I Dream of Jeannie. The score was composed by Stu Phillips, who wrote the music for slapstick comedy The Monkees, police drama McCloud, action sitcom The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo, and action-adventure The Fall Guy. The soundtrack featured songs by The Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Pat Benatar, and James Taylor. The runtime is 1 hour 30 minutes, with subsequent episodes running at 45 to 48 minutes each. The series was on for 4 seasons, 90 episodes from 1982 to 1986. There were made-for-TV movies Knight Rider 2000 and Knight Rider in 2008, both of which featured David Hasselhoff, and Knight Rider 2010, which did not. A syndicated spin-off, Team Knight Rider, lasted for 1 season, 22 episodes. There have also been 5 video games released for PC and console. On the Ski Index, I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Add half a star if you're German. If you've seen Knight Rider and have opinions on the series, let me know what you think using the hashtag #MattForgotThat. Moving right along, each episode, I'm going to post throwback clips that I think people should watch. It could be movie trailers, music videos, interviews, or something completely random. Search for my YouTube page and there'll be a playlist called Matt Forgot That Playback. Mike and the Mechanics are an English supergroup formed by guitarist-bassist Mike Rutherford, while his main gig, Genesis, was on hiatus. He previously released 2 solo albums in 1980 and 1982, but missed the collaboration with other musicians. He reached out to B.A. Robinson, a Scottish composer, and Christopher Neal, an Irish record producer, to co-write the songs which would comprise the self-titled debut album. He recruited Paul Carrick and Paul Young to handle vocal duties, as well as guitar, keyboards, and percussion in live shows. Keyboardist Adrian Lee, who toured with singer Cliff Richard, and drummer Peter Van Hook from Van Morrison rounded out the group. The first single, Silent Running, on Dangerous Ground, was an incomplete track from the Genesis album sessions and developed with Robinson and Neal. It peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and went to number 1 on the mainstream rock tracks. It featured additional guitar work from Kate Bush collaborator Alan Murphy. The second single, All I Need Is a Miracle, would prove more popular, reaching number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, and was nominated for Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group at the 29th Annual Grammy Awards. Their follow-up album, Living Years, was released 3 years later in 1988. The first single, Nobody's Perfect, failed to make a splash, having peaked at number 63 on the Billboard Hot 100, but their next single, The Living Years, became a worldwide hit, reaching the top spot on the Billboard Hot 100. The lyrics were inspired by the birth of B.A. Robinson's child, and the death of both of his and Mike Rutherford's fathers. It was nominated for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals, and Best Video. It won the Ivor Novello Award for Best Song Musically and Lyrically. The album reached number 13 on the US Billboard 200. They released 2 more albums in 1991 and 1995 under this lineup, and a greatest hits in 1996. Keyboardist Adrian Lee and drummer Peter Van Hook would leave the band, and Rutherford, Carrack, and Young would team up with Pink Floyd percussionist Gary Wallace for another self-titled album in 1999. Rutherford and Carrack would return for one more album before Mike and the Mechanics disbanded. Since 2009, Mike Rutherford reformed the group with Gary Wallace and a new set of musicians, and they continue to release albums and tour. I've selected a couple of their biggest hits and a concert from 1999 in Baden, Germany. They're all available in the Matt Forgot That playback playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Now it's time for the recommendation. Yes, that's the word recommendation with Matt in the middle. I'm going to end each podcast with my own recommendation of a movie or TV series. Today I'm talking about The Specialist. It tells the story of ex-CIA agent turned gun-for-hire Ray Quick, who is booked by Mae Monroe to seek revenge on the gang members that killed her parents. It was directed by Luis Loza, who would go on to helm jungle adventure Anaconda and produce telenovelas Escándalo, Travesuras del Corazón, Torbellino, and Latin Lover. The screenplay was written by Alexandra Serros, whose only other credit included thriller Point of No Return. It was based on the men's adventure novels written by John Cutter, which is the pseudonym of John Shirley, who co-wrote the screenplay for The Crow, and episodes of The Real Ghostbusters, RoboCop, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Batman Beyond. It stars Sylvester Stallone, Sharon Stone, James Woods, Rod Steiger, and Eric Roberts. It also features a cameo appearance by Miami Sound Machine musician Emilio Estefan Jr. as a piano player. His wife, Gloria Estefan, recorded a cover of Turn the Beat Around for the soundtrack. It reached number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and reached the top of the Hot Dance Club Play chart. It would be one of her most popular singles and certified gold. The score was composed by John Barry, best known for writing the music to 11 Bond films, including From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Thunderball, and You Only Live Twice, as well as period drama Out of Africa, rom-com Peggy Sue Got Married, epic western Dances with Wolves, and steamy romance Indecent Proposal. While the movie received negative reviews, it opened at number 1 at the box office and ultimately raked in $170 million. It was Stallone's third highest grossing movie of the 1990s. It's not one of his better films, but it's entirely watchable. I think that all the actors are in peak form, and James Woods steals the show as the antagonist, Colonel Ned Trent. The plot is a little muddy. I do wish they followed the first book a little more, but it's well shot, the locations look fantastic. Overall, there are worse ways to spend your time, which I know is not exactly a hard sell. But check it out, let me know what you think. That's all for this edition of Matt Forgot That. Thanks for listening to me reminisce. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or want to share your own trip down memory lane, use the hashtag MattForgotThat on social. Head over to mattseroski.com for all the latest news and updates, and come back next time for the rewatch and review. He shared a Grammy Award nomination for Best Album of Original Score written for a Material Girl, or something like that. It tells the story of ex-CIA agent. I'm having trouble with the letters. He graduated from the California University of, I'm making this up, who co-wrote the screenplay for The Crow, and episodes of The Real Ghostbusters, RoboCop, Star Trek